Hey everybody, this is Andy. This is a special Halloween edition of whatever I am doing. I can't really call it a show. I can't really call it, maybe it's a movement. No, it's not a movement. It's more of just me reading through the Bible and showing my deep, earnest respect for the great book, for the great holy book of Christians everywhere. You may be aware that this is chapter 33 in the book of Genesis that I'm going to be reading today. I want to start off with saying this is not the costume I wore this year. This is last year's costume. It's much more festive. This year I just had bunny ears. Basically, my girlfriend went as the Mad Hatter. A lot of fun. Yeah, it was a thing. Last year, Joker, I had the whole, this is wrong. I shouldn't be making this hand gesture here. I had a staff made of plastic with a death's head on. It was okay. It wasn't anything great, but it was like $50 of okay costume. Way too much. So you may notice I have a mouthpiece today. This just gives me an added sense of authority here on my own YouTube channel, because I've watched a bunch of other people with little headpieces like that, and it's like, wow, they seem really authoritative. So I thought, and since I don't really have a legit mic, like one of the old-timey mics, or one of the ones that you strap on, so I'm just going to be using the headset that I use for the Naked Diner podcast that Jack Materko and I do. You may have listened to our special Halloween episode with the leader, or one of the co-founders, not really the leader, one of the co-founders of the Satanic Temple, Lucian Greaves, who was on this past Monday on the Naked Diner podcast. And we talked all about Satan. We talked about social movements, and we talked about all kinds of fun stuff. All right, I know you're saying to yourself, cut it out, Andy. Cut it out. We want to talk about the crazy Bible stuff. We want to talk about Genesis 33. What's going on with Jacob? He just wrestled with God in the last chapter. And, I was reading through chapter 32 before reading chapter 33 today, and they only gave one paragraph to Jacob wrestling with God, and I feel that was horrible writing. If I was an editor, I would have to have a couple of explosions, maybe much longer than a paragraph. That'd have to be back and forth. And the way how God beat Jacob was popping his hip out of joint. That seemed kind of cheap, not dramatic. It wasn't a very dramatic ending at all. All right. So last time we left our hero, maybe, Jacob, he just wrestled with God. He's about to meet his brother Esau. Esau, you may remember, he ripped off. Bad blood between the two of them. Let's check out chapter 33 in the book of Genesis. Jacob meets Esau. Then Jacob looked up and saw Esau coming, and 400 men with him. So he divided the children among Leah, Rachel, and the 2 female servants, i.e. sex slaves. He put the female servants and their children in front. Oh, good. You set the sex slaves and their kids in the front as like cannon fodder. If things are going to go down, if things are going to go wrong, they'll be sacrificed first while you escape. That's what is the implication there. Then Leah and her children next. Leah was Rachel's sister, and Jacob, of course, didn't really want to marry Leah. Kind of got conned into it by her dad. So you have the sex slaves and their kids first. Leah, the not-so-sexy wife, and her kids second. And then the good wife. The good wife with the children that matter. So the children that matter. And then Rachel and Joseph last. He went on before them, bowing himself to the ground 7 times until he came near his brother, because Jacob expected Esau was going to kill him. But Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him. And they wept. When Esau looked up and saw the women and children, he said, "Who are those among you?" Jacob said, "The children whom God has graciously given your servant." Then the female servants came near, they and their children, and they bowed down. Leah also with her children came near and bowed themselves. Afterward Joseph and Rachel came near, and they bowed themselves. Esau said, "What do you mean by all this company that I met?" Jacob answered, Esau's not supposed to be a very intelligent person. Jacob answered. These are to find favor in the sight of my Lord. Now you may remember from last chapter, Jacob sent a whole bunch. I just hit this. Jacob sent a whole bunch of goodies, presents to pay off Esau before Jacob would meet Esau face to face. Esau said, "What do you mean by all this company that I met?" Jacob answered, "These are to find favor in the sight of my Lord." My Lord being Esau, of course. Esau said, "I have enough, my brother. Keep what you have for yourself." Jacob said, "No, I pray you. If I have now found favor in your sight, then receive my gift from my hand, for I have seen your face, and it is as though I have seen the face of God, with you having received me favorably." That's laying it on pretty thick. "Please take my blessing that I have been brought to you, because God has dealt graciously with me, and because I have plenty." So he urged him, and he took it. Then Esau said, "Let us journey on our way, and I will go ahead of you." But Jacob said to him, "My Lord knows that the children are weak, and the flocks and herds with young are with me. If they are driven too hard one day, all the flock will die. Please let my Lord pass over before his servant, and I will lead on slowly according to the pace of the livestock that goes before me, and the pace of the children will be able to endure until I come to my Lord at Seir." I know that's not the proper pronunciation. It's Seir. I'm going with Seir. So Esau said, "Let me leave some of the people that are with me with you." The people that are with him are like 400 dudes with swords and spears and clubs. But Jacob said, "What need is there? Let me find favor in the sight of my Lord." So Esau returned that day, making his way back to Seir. But Jacob journeyed to Succoth. So basically, Jacob was able to fast talk his slightly dull brother, more than dull brother Esau, to go in one direction and said, "Hey, I'll meet you there, buddy. I'm going to meet you there." And then he went in another direction. But Jacob journeyed to Succoth. Was that a Lovecraft name? Succoth, Sukkoth, maybe, and built himself a house and made booths for his livestock. Therefore, the name of the place is called Succoth. Succoth. Classy. Jacob came peacefully to the city of Shechem. Shechem? We're going to go with Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan. On his way to Padan Aram, and camped before the city. He bought a parcel of the field where he had pitched his tent with the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of silver. He erected an altar there and called it El Elohe Israel. That was chapter 33. So what did we learn? What did we learn in chapter 33 in the book of Genesis? Well, first, this is really hot. This is hotter than it looks, and my head is baking. So that's what I learned. 2, Jacob once again is able to talk his way out of problems. Good for Jacob, I guess. Another thing is that Jacob's kind of dickish, because he sends the sex slaves and the children he's had with the sex slaves out in front, and then the not so liked wife second, with the kids he's had with her, and then the good wife with the kids that mattered, to face the danger. Next time that we meet, we're going to be having Genesis 34. There's sex crime in chapter 34. I don't want to reveal everything. There's a sex crime. There's craziness. This is why we're here reading the Old Testament, to get the crazy stuff. And there was some crazy stuff here. There's some crazy stuff. But next time, crazy stuff. Like biblical, Old Testament crazy stuff. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. There's going to be all kind of links below and descriptions about where you can find me on my blog, Laughing in Disbelief, the Naked Diner podcast. I have a Patreon account too, and maybe maybe if I get enough, well, when I get enough money, when I make enough money, when I can, when I have enough funds, I'm gonna buy a decent laptop, of course a decent mic, and maybe a desktop. I don't know. Do people use desktops anymore? But I need to get decent film editing software so I can put funny stuff up here like I did in the past before my old laptop crapped out on me. Christmas, maybe there'll be deals on Christmas that I can get.
And you know, I'm not Muslim. I'm not Sunni, Shia, I'm not a swirly dervish, but I'm not Islamophobic. Whenever I play marry, fuck, or kill with Jesus, Moses, and Muhammad, I always choose to marry Muhammad, blessed be his name.